It is too early to tell yet whether this day will turn out to be a complete success. But what I can say for sure is that the sun is not up yet, and I have completed my mile of walking. By the time I get back, that mile will have become 2 miles. Yet to be determined whether I at least finally get a video up. This video that you're watching documents a Tuesday morning so far, but what you see after this clip will have been filmed over the weekend over in the town I grew up in. The videos that come after this will not be about tomorrow and the day after, but rather the trip that we've already taken, that we've already completed, down to El Paso, Texas, and beyond that into deeper alpine Big Bend, Texas. The Little Colorado is my current prison flame. But this is the aboriginal waterway of my life. It's called Granite Creek. These days, it's built right next to a real good coffee shop called the Wild Iris. Prescott is a story of growth. Prescott is a story of success in the Chamber of Commerce terms. But what Prescott's undergone in the last 50 years, I would not call it progress. I'm just grateful that there are still a few places, even in amongst the bustle, that are relatively unspoiled. That right there is the local geographic landmark known as Thumb Butte. Looking just at it, or maybe at a hillside like that, you can almost for a minute think that nothing's changed. But you'd be wrong. Over on this side of Highway 69, it's Home Depots and Total Wines as far as the eyes can see. Petco and Office Max, Target and Starbucks. Now, I've been known to walk into a Total Wine and enjoy myself shopping for something tasty. I've been known to patronize a Target from time to time, and even, God help me, a Starbucks. The problem with Total Wine, or even Starbucks, is not so much the sacred hillside that is destroyed in order to make space for these stores. The much deeper and more pernicious problem is the fact that these stores don't exist without a much larger population surrounding them in order to make them into profitable businesses. And it's the 60, 70, 80,000 people where there used to be 8 or 9 or 10 that causes my heart the most grief. Part of me thinks I'm just being a bitchy, nostalgic old coot. But this is the land I first walked. The place where I learned to love the junipers and the pinyon pine. And it hurts me to see it so overgrown with fat and scar tissue like this. It would be fine with me if I never came back to Prescott again. A lot of the memories are good, but those memories are drowning in commerce and population. Prescott Valley, Prescott Valley, this volcanic little hill here used to be what marked the edge of the unincorporated area known as Prescott Valley. And it was just barren hillside, clear down to the highway. Now we're sitting up at a Kia dealership, looking at a Telluride. We may be part of the problem. So I was thinking the other day, actually the very moment we drove through Granite Dells on 89, there was a quarter-mile stretch there where, because of the unforgiving geography of the Dells, nothing had changed. Absolutely nothing for that quarter or half mile. And sinking down into that 50 years ago feeling of what it was like then, and then suddenly being jolted into looking at a big collection of new houses, new businesses, motels, dealerships, and whatnot. It's that moment of transition between the way it was and the way it is that creates dissonance in me and makes it hard to take. It's not so much just the what it was, nor is it just the what it is. It's the intermittency of being jolted back and forth between one and the other. I don't even know if that makes any sense. But that's just what I'm feeling today. I am in a almost shady, barely in out of the wind spot in a parking lot in a place which has been stripped of all meaningful place. Names aren't important. Hey Tom, I got about 20 minutes here and I want to try and explain to you what's been going on. About a week ago, the Spookster said, I want to go on a road trip. She wanted to go on a road trip, and she let me pick the place. I was at the time tangled up in the question of Where will we snowbird ourselves when we're living in Silver? Where will we go when the winter gets to be too much and January is too cold? Where can we go within a couple of 100 miles that will be our warm place? And I considered a whole lot of different things. I was thinking that going down to the Big Bend country of Texas might be the ideal. And so we spent a day driving down through Silver to El Paso. And then we spent another day driving down almost all the way to the border at Terlingua. And then we spent most of a third day messing around in Big Bend National Park itself. A gorgeous place. You'll see in the videos. Upcoming. And toward the end of that third day, she got called in for an interview clear over in Phoenix. So we kind of abruptly truncated our trip, and we drove like bats out of hell through Tucson to Phoenix, and that's going to be sort of like the fourth day video. At the end of that fourth day, we drove back up the hill, slept at home, then turned right around the next morning, yesterday morning, and bounced over here to the greater Prescott Metroplex because she had a little social engagement, which she is attending as we speak. What I want to tell you to preface these videos is that at the beginning of the week, I had this idea that the further south we went, the further southeast we went down into the Big Bend, the warmer it would be. And in July that might be true, but July is not what we care about. What we care about is what's the high temperature in January. And it turns out, or rather, what's the low in on an average January night, and could that possibly be above freezing? In Holbrook, where we are right now, the average low on the January night is 23 degrees. In Silver City, it is 28 degrees. So obviously we were looking for something warmer than that, and hopefully above freezing, of course. And we're just talking averages, right? So it turns out that if you go clear over to Del Rio, Texas, which we did not, you can get an average nightly January low of about 41 degrees. Maybe it said 43, I don't know, something like that. Going the other direction, where there sort of isn't cheap land anymore, you could go to Tucson and get right around that same 40-degree average January night. Another complicating factor in all of that is that throughout much of the land that we went through on this trip, there was lots of unwanted interaction with the Border Patrol, just in the form of checkpoints. And you know, I would like to find a place to winter that didn't involve having to do dances with La Migra. So in the end, I don't know that that's going to turn out to actually be possible, to find that crossroads of a nice warm January night without Border Patrol interaction, and of course where the land is cheap, because that's the whole point, is to have a place that's ours to park an RV for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, whatever, that doesn't have a lot of zoning, that doesn't care whether or not you're digging a septic tank and all the rest of that, and hopefully it's $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 like it would be up in Concho. Just warmer. So far, the ideal confluence of all these different parameters and features is turning out to be very close to the environs of El Paso and the land immediately to the east of that, which is called Hudspeth County, which actively advertises itself as friendly to non-zoning kinds of living arrangements. So in that whole long trip, nothing got decided regarding the low urgency January night thing. But man, did we have a good time. Big Bend National Park is absolutely beautiful. The little town of Alpine, Texas impressed the hell out of us with its charm and its relatively dry beauty. It's up in the mountains. It was a really fun trip while it lasted and before we had to bomb back to Phoenix. And you'll see all that happening in the videos that are upcoming. And the reason I wanted to take a minute to just explain all that is that in those videos there will be some misconceptions voiced on my part regarding where the best place might be and exactly what is important to me, which I have a much clearer idea of now. We'll see how that goes. In the editing, I mean. Anyway, darlings, there you go. Notes from the underground, previews of coming attractions. God bless.